here for the watch on. Thank you so much for being there, and thank you so much for being back with me. We'll get into this tonight. I think there's many things that has to be said. Before I go into the chat, Nick Carucci says absolutely woeful. What a disgrace! What an absolute shit show. Hey, tired from work, tired of United, and being tired adult in general. Nick Carucci, my friend, I hope you're doing extremely well. So the first thing to say is, look, get into this amazing community. I will say this: we may not be the biggest, we're not the smallest, but we certainly are the best. Get into this amazing community. Be respectful. Be respectful to the community. Be respectful to yourselves. Be respectful to me. Otherwise, the banhammer comes out, and we don't like to do it. It's not something that we do like to do in here. I'm not a dictator of this chat, so what that basically means is I do genuinely read out your comments. Nick Carucci, I'm doing extremely well. My friend, well, I was. But yeah, I am away from this badge. I'm extremely well, my friend, and hope you are doing extremely well as well. So get into your comments. I want to know, look, tonight we might as well just go through this. I'm just going to say before the start is, I'm not scoring these players tonight. I'm not giving these players a score tonight. These players tonight are not worthy of a score. Amorim is not worthy of a score tonight. Let me just adjust this camera. I am not scoring these players tonight. I refuse to score them tonight. I'm not going to score Amorim. I'm not going to give them a score because I don't believe that they're worthy of a score tonight. We're going to get into it tonight. I want to know if you watched the match, I want to know your opinions on the players. I want to know your opinions of this club. I want to know your opinions of Amorim as well. Whether you were Amorim out, Amorim in, Amorim shake it all about. Now, I've got my opinions on Amorim. I'm not going to change my mind tonight. I'm going to give you my balanced view. And I think, sadly, at the end of the day, I think we are stuck in a situation whereby now I will come into that, where I think we are now have a situation whereby we are now in a situation that Ineos have caused. And I think that's where I'm going to probably start tonight as well. It is probably what that situation is tonight. With the squad we have, and we still can't beat a bottom three team, is a legit joke. Nick Carucci, we've got Wolves. Imagine Wolves have got two points, right? If we draw against Wolves, forget about it. Amorim can actually go and do one with the mind unable to adapt, son of a weasel. Now, and again, guys, look, tonight is look, we're going to get into this tonight. No, Amorim doesn't. I've given Amorim leeway, right? There is no excuse for what we saw tonight. Now, I will look. These players are at the core of what this problem is. Amorim, in a defence of Amorim, but again, he's not going to get away with this tonight. He's not on the pitch. He cannot determine the appetite of these players. He cannot determine the desire of these players, right? However, you need to adapt with these players. If you don't play these players at their game, and this is the thing that still baffles me, I still don't understand what is wrong with this manager. Or maybe you don't, we know what these players are, and they've shown it again. Low IQ, low mentality, not able to adapt. We know this. Why, Amorim, won't you adapt? Like, if you want to survive at this club, why won't you adapt? And I respect the fact that Amorim is playing on the principles, but you don't have your players. Kaida Sharma says, so frustrated. Scott says, yeah, I agree with you, my friend. Amorim, why don't you adapt? Look, and I will get into Amorim as well. Tempo went to 0 after scoring, and you're right. Why didn't we go for the kill? Why were these players set up tonight like they were away? Why were these players set up in a non-attacking formation tonight? Is that on the players? No, there are some things that are not on these players, right? And that performance tonight, that management of that game tonight was absolutely disgusting. Managers are everything. Take a look at how dreadful a job Brendan Rodgers did when Sowick was in. Martin O'Neill left with some players and got the best out players and won 6 of his 7 games. Now, Nikarusu, I think you make a good point, and I should tell you why. I think that's a good point, right? Again, your comment, my friend, I respect it. Is that this is what I've always believed. You've got these players, and we all know they're an amalgamation of a bunch of shite players, right? You bring in a manager that doesn't play a 4-3-3. You bring him in. He's had pretty much a season to figure out what these players are. He's now had, 14 games or whatever it is now to figure out what these players are, right? These players cannot play your system. I'm not saying your system is bad. I'm not saying that your formation is bad. These fucking players cannot play your system. Amorim, change your formation. Adapt to these players and get rid of the players at the end of the season. This is the bit I don't understand. There is stubbornness for the sake of stubbornness. I don't get it. I don't get why Amorim doesn't change the system. And I don't believe it is the system. I've never thought that. A big chunk of it is these players. But what is inexcusable is how can you not change the system to suit these players? If you don't, you're not going to survive. You are not going to survive. You've got match-going fans who are paying hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and yes, these players can't be bothered to put in a shift. But Amorim, mate, what are you doing? Like, this back three is not working. You do not have. It's obvious. You're bigging up your Portuguese players. One of them scored tonight. That's fine, but they're not great. They are just the whole team to a man, and we're now even talking Cunhas. We're talking about these new players are absolutely just dying out there. We do. We need to go back to fucking Ollie ball. Like, we don't have these players anymore. Now, let me read your chat, and again, I will go back into this stuff as well. MM200 says Amorim was thinking about the next game against Wolves. We don't have bench players, and I'll come on to that as well, because again, Ineos are going to get it tonight as well, because they are just fucking naive. Look, we had it with Fergie and the boys. Now we have shit players, no world class players paid for, and we have been a club and get used to it for 10 years. Mark, spot on, my friend. Do you even think if we change the system we will get better? No. If we went to a 4-3-3, I think we'd be slightly better, right? But these players did it under Ten Hag as well. Like, these players, we know, will let us down time and time again. And now Amorim is starting to let us down time and time again. I think this is one big mess. This is one big Nice Ineos mess. What we are seeing now is we're seeing a manager who is wrong for this club, I believe. We're seeing players who are wrong for this manager. Any coach this is what people need to realise. Any coach that comes in to this club is going to want to change these players. It doesn't matter what we do. Any new manager that comes into this club is going to want to change these players. That is the fact. Now, the scary thing is that if we were to bring in a coach who wanted to play a 4-3-3, we have no wingers. Like, we don't have a team to play a proper 4-3-3. A new coach is going to want to come in here and change his plays. The only thing that I ask here is who do we bring in? Now, and I'm not saying that I'm Amorim in, Amorim out. I am saying, what is the alternative to this? You know, whether we change the coach, we're still going to have these players. Fernandes tonight is fucking disgusting. I cannot fucking stand him. I cannot stand these players. I absolutely cannot stand these players. I don't care if Amorim goes. I don't care if these players go. We are rotten from top to bottom. How can these players and how can Amorim come? And Amorim comes out and says the same thing time again. These players need to learn. These players need to be more intense. These players need to be better. These players need to learn. Amorim, you've got them for... These players are senior professionals. You're calling out these young players, and your leadership team are shit. Your leadership team are letting you down. Your Portuguese friends, Portuguese friends, they're letting you down. They are going to kill you. Like, your Portuguese mates are killing you. You know, this pretense of having this fucking pivot, this pretense of having a 34-year-old Casemiro who looks like an old man. You've got Fernandes. Look, I know Bruno Fernandes is playing in a position that's not his. I get that completely. I 100% understand it. But your captain is not even putting in tackles. Your captain is moaning and whinging about fucking penalties that weren't. Your captain is moaning and whinging. What is he doing? What is your captain doing? Right? I played five-a-side last night, right? I played five-a-side last night, and I saw, to a man, a game that means jack shit. It's cold. It's wet. You know, you've got players who are out there who just out there because they want to play. Every person, to a man, was giving it everything. And I'm not talking about, you know, just slamming into people. People chasing balls. People, you know, running back. You know, old men, right? Running back. You know, I was blowing, right? We were tackling, we were shooting. You know, we didn't know each other that well. And we are absolutely giving every single thing that we can for the love of the game and for pride in us. These players, and we're just a bunch of nobody players. Why can't United players just even do that? You know, I know they're low IQ. And then Amorim comes in, and Amorim is backing these players week after week. I can no longer stand back and accept this senior team of players. Luke Shaw, Martinez. I mean, okay, you know, I mean, you know, he's only just coming back. This leadership team that he's got is absolutely nonsense. He'll call out young players, call out Bruno Fernandes, call out Luke Shaw. You know, call out these players. And tonight, it doesn't matter that Luke Shaw might have done a tackle. It doesn't matter that, you know, he might have done something right. It doesn't matter that another Portuguese player has scored. Like, these players, they are mediocre. Even the good performances tonight are from a mediocre team. And we are at home 1-1 against a bottom three at the bottom of the league team, and we are at home. It is from top to bottom, to a man, to a person, to the manager, it is an absolute fucking disgrace. And we will talk about it tonight. So what I want to know tonight is, I want to know about players. I want to know about what you think about this. And again, I will read your comments out. Josh says, Amorim's formation and tactics are football. We are playing so bad, he's got to be sacked. Liverpool are in the same boat. We've tried new managers. As we said, what's happening with Shesko? Shesko's injured. We still need to get rid of 6 or 7 more. I agree with you. Sally says it's the same situation as Ten Hag. Have to make a decision now and prepare, or we stick with him for the long run. I do agree with you. As fans, we always look for the cracks in the team. We blame the toxicity on some players. They're gone. Blame the manager at times. Blamed his formation and tactics. Fans are frustrated, and are we that? broken, possibly. Shesko's injured. Fernandes has unfortunately carried the weight of this team for many years. He's done and about to throw in the towel. I don't disagree. Prediction was off, says joking. People think Bruno is world class. I disagree. He's not, is he? Safman says, I watched 10 minutes for the game. West Ham were S. How the hell did they equalise? David says, I think this is a slight overreaction. What you've lost 1 in 7. Look where you are compared to a year ago. It's about building, and you will get into this season. And again, David, look, mate, it is. I love different opinions, right? And again, if I talk about your opinions, it's not because everyone is entitled to that opinion. It's not, my friend. The only reason it looks like we are building up is because this is a really, really strange season. Everybody is competitive this season, and it's not so much the results, right? We are getting results, and you can argue that 1 loss in 7, but we are playing awful, mate. We are playing. We are lucky. We are lucky that we've got draws. We are very, very fortunate at the moment that we've got draws. This will not continue. This will not continue. We've been getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. At one point, channels, and again, I want the same channels, these same massive channels about a month ago who were talking about a race for the title, who were talking about top 4. We are not a top 4 team. I've predicted all season that we finish between 8th and 10th, and I'm not going to change my mind because it's not. Look, sometimes the results and the stats go against what's actually happened, right? And you can look at yes, we've lost 1, but it's the performances that the last 2 home games have been disgusting. I've been some of the worst football I have ever seen in my life, and I just don't think it is. Look, we have seen this now for the longest time. I've kept blaming the players, and I still do. I can't stand these players, but now it's coming to a point where Amorim keeps coming out saying the same things, and I can't ignore it anymore. I can't ignore it. I want this manager to succeed, but I think he's doing everything in his power to fail right now. Sully says the goal was decent, knowing marking the post. The main issue for us is not getting goals. Not world class. He does work hard than the majority of his teammates. And again, Nick Arutz, my friend, it's your opinion. I don't doubt that Bruno Fernandes runs around. I am not disputing that, but he does nothing. He's impotent. He's petulant. He doesn't tackle. I'm only asking him to do the simple things right. As a United captain, you have to do more than work hard. It's not just about working hard. Bruno Fernandes has to do so much more, and he doesn't. And it's Fernandes has to do more, and he simply doesn't. And today's performance, it was just disgusting. What's with the low and the long throws that we've got, Mr. Plank? We're that team, aren't we? We're that team who is just, we don't know what we are. We just don't know. Wan-Bissaka was the best defender on the pitch. I don't disagree. Wan-Bissaka tonight was fantastic. Archer says, hi, mister. Hello, Sully. He can't dribble, can't make a tackle. So us working hard. Walton or Anderson is needed. Reece Prince, I don't disagree, mate, but Anderson is not coming. Nuno sets up his teams well, and West Ham won't be bottom 3. And again, David, do you know what the most frustrating thing is for me? Right? Do you know what the most fucking frustrating thing is for me? We go over the match on here, right? We talk about tactics. We talk about, and we don't necessarily talk about it in any super in-depth way, but we go through it. We talk about it. We talk about how West Ham will play. For the 4th or 5th time, in a row, the opposing team that we're talking about has done exactly what we've said. We go through it on how West Ham will play, on how Everton will play, on how all these teams will play, how Crystal Palace will play. And this community is right time after time after time. I do not understand how Amorim can't just go on to ChatGPT and put in how will West Ham, how will they play? What we predicted on here, just from a conversation, just from the things that we've seen, how we can predict what West Ham will do before the fucking game, and Amorim cannot see, because we've got to start talking about him as well now. Scott says, even if we sack the manager, the same shit will happen with the new one, and he will run his own plays. And Scott, this is it, my friend. This is exactly it. We are again to a point, and I think somebody made the point, right? This is Ten Hag all over again. The reason why Amorim is still here is because Ineos are presiding over an absolute shitfest. This is Nice all over again. And Ineos, as I've said, are impotent. They're blunt. They don't know what they're doing. How can you bring in a coach? And let's go backwards for a second, right? And let's go all the way back, right? When they sacked Ten Hag, they had an opportunity to do it before the start of the season, right? As a club, we've always played a back four, whether it's a 4-4-2, a 4-3-3, or a version of that system. Okay, right? Why would and then you buy the players to fit the system? Now, whether or not we like Sancho, Rashford, Anthony, right, fine, but we had those players to play the system. Why on God's green fucking earth would you then go and sign a 40-year-old Portuguese coach who plays a back five with players that don't know how to play a back five, with players that have sacked countless managers? Don't back him. And when I say back him, you gave him Dorgu in the first window. You don't back him. You don't back this manager. What is he supposed to do? Right? These players can't play this system. We all know what these players are. What are these players supposed to do? Now, I'm not letting these players off of the hook from a professional, from a standpoint of I expect certain things, right? But what are these players supposed to do? They can't play this system, right? And you've got a manager who refuses to buckle, to bend a system to fit these players. If you bend your system, right, and you're a man of principle, right, I get it. I completely respect that. I absolutely respect somebody being a man of his honor, okay? I get it completely, right? But for fuck's sake, change your... If you want to survive in the Premier League, mate, you're getting schooled by Sean Dyche, right? If you want to survive in this league, it doesn't matter what players you've got, right? It's really, really simple. If you've got people that can't do the job that you want them to do, but they can't be sacked, whether you like it or not, and I don't agree with the player power, but you have to find a way to make these players do what you want to do to get to what you're trying to achieve. Okay, we all know what these players are. We all know. Okay, but these players cannot just take the flak all by themselves now. We know what these players are. Amorim is becoming clear what he is. And it is just a failure, an abject failure. And this is why nearly 2 years ago, when we were talking about Ineos and why we didn't want them here, we have now got it. We have now seen what we are. We have now seen it in 4K HD TV. We've now seen what we are, and it is a fucking mess. Amorim doesn't have these players. These players don't want to play the system. And I'm not even saying that these players are not going to down their tools. That is not what they're doing here. It's not the fact that they're not playing. They can't play this system. We don't have We don't have the players. So let me get through some of your chats, and then we'll go through this as well. I don't care about the result at this point. We can't play football. I agree with you. Is the league more competitive or more inconsistent? I think the league's more competitive. I'm a neutral, so I see in it completely different. But I know your club, David. Look, mate, David. Completely, you respect your opinion, my friend, and that's why it's really important that you get your opinions in, because it's so important to get an outside view as well. Big up, guys. Not the best result tonight. Same old United hit and miss. The funny thing is, top 5 is possible if we actually play some damn football. Solomon says, effing fuming, mate. I don't blame you tonight. I am livid tonight. Impotent, wrong sub today, except Euro was all wrong. What got is within 3 minutes, Dorgu let the ball go out, play in a half. That wouldn't be an instinct. There has to be an instruction. Exactly. Bruno's just better off just focusing in controlling the tempo and using his energy to pass and move. I know what we are. Exactly. Amorim OUT says, and guys, look, get in your opinions on this tonight. Amorim OUT was saying tonight, should put up a poll for Amorim in or Amorim out. Do you know what? I am going to do that. I am going to do that tonight. You know, I am not. Look, I am not one, and I've been avoiding this. Here we go. Simple poll tonight. Simple poll. Put it up. Simple poll tonight. So look, I have been refusing to have this conversation. Right? I've been refusing to have this conversation because I didn't want to get to this point. Right? I'm going to answer that question as well. I am not Amorim in or out. I am united in. And what I mean by that is I am fans in. Okay. I am sick and tired of match-going fans having to pay their hard-earned money. And I'm going to go into this tonight, and I promise you, I will read all your chats out tonight, right? You've got people like yourselves, like me, who go to work, however you earn your money, right? We get taxed, okay? We're not millionaires. We go to work for our money, we get paid our money, right? We get taxed, we have to go and buy. Gas bills are expensive, electricity is expensive, food is expensive, you know, we're getting taxed up the arsehole, right? And people pay their money to these millionaires, these pampered millionaires, right, who are at our club, right? And it's not their fault. But what I'm saying here is that, you know, you have an obligation. Now, match-going fans who are paying to watch that, you know, who are going for the love of their club, who go, and we pay our money for subscriptions, and these players cannot be fucking bothered to turn up. Amorim cannot be bothered to think about the fans, right? You know this team has been playing awful. You've just been playing absolutely disgusting. Why would you not? Why would you not, for the sake of this club and for the sake of you? Look, Amorim, I like you, right? I liked you. I think it was a very, very brave appointment. I don't understand tonight. And again, we've spoken about these players tonight. Tonight was quite clear for me tonight, whereby it's rinse and repeat. You know, Amorim, I think, talks out of his arse. You know, Amorim Amorim keeps talking about intensity. Amorim, we have one game a week, or we were having a single game a week. What are you doing with these players? Because I don't understand. If you've got a dog, right, and I do have a dog, right, and you've got a ball, right, you can train a dog with a football or a ball to chase it and bring it back, right? I'm not saying that the dog has to do fucking backflips. I'm not saying that the dog has to do amazing tricks. What I'm saying here is that you can train a dog to do a specific job. Why can't Amorim, or what is it about this club and this team that he can't teach players to do a specific thing? What is Amorim doing? Is it just because this system is so just so complex they can't play it? And as many of you have said, why can you not adapt? Why don't you adapt? Why can't you just to survive? What? Because a lot of us want to. Let me just look at this. What a lot of us. I mean, a lot of us want you to survive, or we wanted you to survive. I don't see how we survive this. I just simply don't. Let me get to your comments. I watched some early 1970s the other day, more fluid attacking than today's. It was he was class. He was classed as poor. The subs killed you, George. I agree. Amorim out. He's out of his depth as Anderson. You are the nicest person streaming up. Thank you, my friend. That means a lot to me, my friend. We either back him or keep the same S happening with a different manager. 18 months. The poll is just for the channel members. So chat, of course, I don't mean anything's just fans' opinion. Look, it is. Look, it is. Look, it's just fan opinion, right? You know, you guys get into the chat. You know, look, when I don't want to particularly have this conversation. I've been avoiding this conversation for the longest time. After Grimsby, Amorim in. Everton, Amorim in. I've been Amorim in basically the whole of the time. I am not necessarily Amorim in right now or Amorim out. I don't know what the fuck I am. I know there's something has to change. And I will come on to that as well. David says Ineos is virtually bankrupt. They had to pull out F1 stuff. Don't think they can afford to sack him and replace him. Plus the transfers. David, Matt, I think you could be spot on as well. And I do want to talk about Ineos next as well, and the Glazers. The woeful Anderson says just because the fans are tired of so many managers being sacked doesn't make him the right man. Anderson, I think, mate, I think you've got a very, very good point. You know, we said this as well, is that, you know, just because I liked what we tried to do and I don't want to sack the manager, I fully accept that Amorim, he may not be the guy. You know, he's come from a Portuguese league. He's 40. He's very, very young. Amorim may not be the guy. I fully accept that Amorim may not be the guy. At what point do we go, is it the players? Is it the coach? You know, at what point do we go, you know, because there is blame here, and where my blame will always land is with the Glazers. My blame is with the Glazers. My blame is with Ineos. Sir Jim, why you stuck your fucking nose in this club, I do not know. As the thing was just said there, we are, as a club, we made £36 million loss, right? I've seen channels, and I'm not going to name names, talking about how we've got this new squad cost thing, right? And how apparently we're going to have all this cash because we're a cash-rich club, right? We're going to have all this cash, and the headroom's going to be amazing. Those channels don't know fucking shit, right? Because if we've made a loss, right? If we've made a loss, You can't pull money out of your arse. I wish these channels, these bigger channels, would just use their fucking brains and actually understand accounting, which I do. If you've made a loss, right, it doesn't matter how much money you can spend, right? If someone says to you, you could buy this car for £1 million. If you've got 10 grand, you can't buy the fucking car. Like, it doesn't matter if our leeway is suddenly 300, whatever, like £1 billion to spend. We've just lost £36 million. We do not have the money to do that. And the point of that is if we were to buy players, because this team needs players, this team dramatically needs players. If you were to buy those players and we get top four, and I've spoken about this, probably this is my 4th time today, right? If you buy players, we get into the top four. It's not just about the top four, by the way, right? Top four is great. If you get into the top four, this is what happens, right? You get £100 million, right? You get more home games. That's some more money, right? What then happens is you get better players. With those better players, it means you have better depth. It then means you go further in the Carabao Cup. It means you go further into the FA Cup. It means you go further into the Champions League. It means you finish higher up in the league as well. No, that means you get more money from the Premier League. The Carabao Cup, look, people snooze on that. Home games are home games. If we play 10 home games, that's about £40 million just in home games. By purely having a better squad, you get more money because you go further in the competitions. For the sake of spending, let's just say we went out and bought one £80 million player, one £70 million player. Now, you break that down over four to 5 years. Your outlay now might be something like 50 million. But that 50 million, and if you're consistent in the Champions League, then you're talking about £500 million here. And that is what these people don't get. They're trying to run it like a business. You have to speculate to accumulate, and these owners have no fucking idea how to run a football club. United Rose says this was woeful tonight. Time for a change of the manager. Sally says, how will it change anything that we are already discussing? My point is not a time for polls, it's a time for serious action. Surely Mourinho would be better than Bruno Casemiro in the midfield. Lim says, why succeed control over the game when we were the team pushing forward? When Amorim brought on Ugarte instead of Mourinho and kept Casemiro on, it was such a bad psychological sign for the players. I don't disagree. United's transfers have been the worst in the league. Name me 3 of the top transfers over the last 10 years. Anderson says, United badly needs a couple of midfielders and fullbacks. Sully says, Bruno and Casemiro are always split vertically rather than horizontally, hence why the midfield has no one in attack and holes in the transition. I agree. Go Bridge is Amorim out. I mean, look, it can't be as simple as Amorim out. You know, I don't deal here on an absolute, right? You guys, it's so important for you guys to have an opinion. I've got to see the both sides, right? I am not Amorim out. I'm not Amorim in. I am manager. In fact, I'm not even that. I am clubbing. I am fans in. You know, I want. This club needs to be purged. It doesn't matter whether it's Amorim. It doesn't matter whether it's Pep. It doesn't matter if it's Klopp. it doesn't matter right now about these players. It goes beyond. It goes beyond it. Kashin, thank you, my friend. Go for that says too slow. No creativity. My God, we need a number 9. So many 4 and 5 touch moves. They're crap. United tears are the best. Thank you, not Brett May. The dad says, I'm an Arsenal fan and I like drowning United, but in all fairness, you need like 5 years min to build from the ground up. Amorim in 100%. Amorim out. Say hi, hello, YouTube UK 1 is pointless conversation. Ref was a disgrace. I thought, was it Wan-Bissaka should have gone, but other than that, I mean, was it really his fault? I mean, it wasn't his fault really. Liam says, can I ask why you're 100% in? What are you seeing? I've discussed in football again, clueless. The question is, how long do we give this manager? If results are not great, how long can this continue until a change is made? Look, Rob, I'm going to answer that question now. I've always said this, is that Amorim, in my view, has got until the January window, right? If I've always thought this, we've got these next 7 games, right? It was 10 games, it was 9, it was 8, and now it's 7 games left. If we've got 1 point away from home, this is where I'm at. Okay. If we lose to Wolves away, or we draw, or we lose to Wolves, right? Look, I already cannot stand these players. Amorim right now, I hear the same crap come out of his mouth time after time. We need intensity. We need this. We need that. Then why are you playing? Why are you playing your Portuguese players? Like, why? At least play Fernandes in a 10. At least play these players in a position that suits these players. Otherwise, what is the point? We all said this in the summer. You are going to live and die on Bruno Fernandes. What you do with him, is going to make you or break you. And his baffling decisions, in-game decisions, are baffling. Why would you go defensive when you've got to score the second goal? I don't get what Amorim's doing. I absolutely don't. And look, Rob, I think if we get to Boxing Day and, we've got, I don't know, Villa, I think we're going to lose to Villa. The Newcastle game, if Amorim it picks up 1 or 2 wins, he's got to go. But my only question here is, who do we bring in? Like, I'm not saying right now don't sack him. I'm not saying let's sack him. I'm not saying don't. My question really is, who do we bring in that can get us over the line, and then what do we do in the summer? That's all I'm asking tonight. Is who can we get that will come in to steady the ship, that can do a better job than now. Like, I'm sure, I'm damn well sure that any one of us right now could probably come in to this side and just change it around. And I think instantaneously, whether I like it or not, if you go to a back 4, and look, I get this completely, right? If you're a coach and you are a man of principles, I would respect Amorim more. What Amorim should do is go play a 4-3-3 or a version of 4-3-3. Give these players what they want and show the world that it's not you. Go and say, look, these are my players. I've pandered to them. I've given a 4-3-3. This is what they can do. And if they don't perform, it's on them. And I would admire Amorim so much if he went against the principles of what he thinks is right and just said, look, let's play a system where we can get through the season. Right now, here and now, we are not getting top 4. We're not. We are an 8th to 10th team, possibly 12th. We are just abjectly terrible. Zach says Premier League is very overrated. Not a lot of good teams. I disagree with that, my friend. Just got in from the game. And Paul James Owens, mate. Paul is a legend. He's been on here before. Paul, mate. All I can say for you, Paul, is I take my hat off to you, Paul. Maximum respect, my friend. I'd love to know, Paul, whether you're Amorim in or out. I hate to ask that question. I hate the fact that we're here again, Paul. But you're a match going fan, Paul, and I just respect your effort, mate. I just at this point, for me, I take my hat off to us fans. I take my hat off more to people that go to the games, people that watch, people that just support this club. I am fans in. I feel so proud at times to be part of this fan base. At times, I don't. But I feel more proud in these situations because we're all having to watch that. And for match going fans, I take my hat off because you pay your money, your hard-earned cash, to go and watch our team, and that's the performance, Paul, that they give to you. It is disgusting. Hotline says Mark Oldbridge. Mark is older than me, so Premier League is the best in the world. Chelsea just beat Barcelona. No plan A or B from the manager again. We are in a weird place where we have seen us be bad for 12 seasons, but the promise was we need to rip it up and start again, which is fine, but it's going nowhere. Isaac is back. Isaac, we always miss you, my friend. David says, can't get a poodle to herd sheep. That's the analogy. Not all dogs can do tasks. Ref was disgraceful. This revolution is going nowhere. Mark Holbridge. Bias ref. I don't know. Let's take a moment and feel bad for the guy who won't get his hair cut till United gets 5 wins in a row. I bet he regrets this choice now. Mate, if I was him, I would just absolutely just shave his hair off, mate. United is garbage. I'm not going to disagree with you, mate. Chris says, forget the ref. Those excuses. Amorim can't adapt. Seen us take long throws. Has done it for me. When did we turn into Stoke City? It's going that way. I'm sick the teeth of this manager. United is, yes, they are. Sack the manager, sack the board is on the horizon at this rate. Solari says this coach can't get us anywhere. His subs is always disastrous, is what caused us this game, and many others. Must he use players that are not performing? JB, you said at the start of the season we'll probably finish 9th or 10th. We had a chance to go top 4, top 5 tonight. We've got no chance if we carry on. And Rob, mate, look, it doesn't please me. It doesn't please me to be right. It doesn't please me to know what this club is, right? What I love is that we are all optimists, right? At the very start of the season, we are optimists, right? We start again because we want to see this club, get better and better and better. I watched every single pre-season game. I stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning. Many of you were here as well. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, right, what I saw in those pre-season games hasn't changed. It is exactly the same as we are playing now. It is absolutely disgraceful, and heads have to roll. Good old Americans, you Irish, we have the same second name. Jim Ratcliffe taking part ownership without full control doesn't make any sense when you don't pull the purse strings. Exactly, Liam. Sir, you still talking about United? Well, yeah, because it's a United channel, my friend. You know, terrible manager taking off the players. We need to keep on. Sack him now. Just F off. United fan. I mean, look, guys, this is your show tonight. You know, vent tonight. Vent. This is your chance to vent, and I will read out as much of your venting as I can. Simon James says it's weird discussing United as top 4 being an achievement. Simon, mate, you're so spot on. You know, I've said this as well. I demand this club. I demand this club finishes first every season. I demand we win the league every season. I demand we're in the Champions League this season. Not because I'm an idiot, but because we need these standards. We need standards at this club. And we are so below. And Simon, you hit the nail on the head. When did we become a club that achievement for us is finishing top 4? It is disgraceful. Gasparini, the Glazers are ruining. I agree with you. Paul says, I think it's time for protest, and not one that's outside the ground and then go to watch the game. Hurt them by not going in and spending the money. Stay outside. And Paul, I am with you. I think it's so difficult. Is it the 1958, right? It is time for action. It is time for action, Paul. I just, I get it. I get it's really, really difficult to do, but it has to come a time now where we have to do something. I would happily be part of it. I would more than happily be part, and not that I can do much, but I would happily go out there. I'd happily stand there. I think the time has come. Now, this is now beyond the manager. This is beyond the players, right? Players can be replaced. Managers can be replaced. This is about the future of this club. And Paul, I think you're right. It would be the most United thing to do to offer Amorim a extension tomorrow. Don't go to the stadium. Don't buy the merch. And Paul, mate, this is why I don't buy these from the club. I don't buy anything from the club. I buy my shirts from elsewhere that are not from the club. I do not put a penny into this club. The Glazers have ruined us. It's happened already. I agree with you. We had it with Hicks, and yeah, you did. Or things are going to really spiral. Paul, mate, I think things are. Sometimes you've got to look at this, right? Frying pan and fire. You look at what Sir Jim did at Nice, and it's happening here. It's a fucking disaster. Liam says, I hear you, but it's so far from being realistic. All owners, no support for the club means they'll spend no matter what. Mark Jones says, United is floppy right now. You're dreaming about it when it's not going to happen. Exactly. Badette says hi. United always concede goals immediately after substitutions are made. Simon used to always have kids coming through. What happened to that? Jeffrey Burns says, United need to go back to being a club starting local lads with passion. No, Gobridge is the same, not in or out, but he said he's on the path to being sacked. Alan Sugar said he regrets dealing with football. Who cares what Gobridge thinks? The guy has a huge channel, sure, but he isn't the arbiter of fan opinion. Very well said, Liam. I don't see any long-term vision, just short-term fixes. God's Samaritan says, honestly, man, that United suck. As a Liverpool fan, I get your point, but it's almost the same for us with Slot. But I love it when Saeed crying because he's all up others' business. And love from Jamaica. My name is mate. Legend. So Drew P, mate, absolute legend. Look, mate, I've always said this on here, right? I have the utmost respect for Liverpool. We can all banter, right? I do not revel. I am not a person who revels in others' defeats because I know what it's like, right? I have respect for Liverpool. I respect teams, right? Because I think ultimately what's happening there with Slot is like happening here, and it's us fans who pay, right? I take no pride, and I know that guy that you're speaking about. I could call things out that he does because I think he's a big pile of shit. You just won't get that here. This is not a place whereby we start chucking the toys at the pram. And you're welcome here, my friend. It's the players' mentality and not the manager. United always got to rebuild. Never walk alone back on the perch. They need to bring back Alex Ferguson, no matter his age. You're a small club now. Come to terms of it. But we're not. Look, you've got to distinguish between a small club in terms of there is a difference between a big club and an irrelevant club, right? You can't just go, oh, you're a small club now, right? We're not a small club, and it makes it so much worse. It makes it so much worse. The fact that whether you like it or not, we are an absolute behemoth. We are the second biggest club. Well, we're the second biggest club in the world. We're the second. I think we are behind Madrid in terms of the value. And if you can't come to terms with that, it's not my problem, right? But it makes it more the worse. It makes it so much worse. The fact that we are one of the biggest clubs in the world, but we are irrelevant. We are an irrelevance right now. So look, I respect the opinion, but factually your opinion is wrong on the basis that I get that we're an irrelevant club. We do have a small club sort of mindset, but we're a behemoth club. Mate, what do you think about my fresh save in my FP? Looks great, huh? I can't really see it, mate, but yeah, it looks all right. Jake says, I needed a complete rebuild. One player won't fix the team, so build on a strong team and let's do City. When you say over the line, what does that mean? You are at the minute. What is the line? Yeah. That's the important thing. It's all good saying sack him, but who'd you get? Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen would laugh at United. Why do your managers last under 2 seasons and get sacked around Christmas? And then you have your new manager bounce and the same again. Well, David, it's what they do, my friend. It is literally what they do. It is a learnt thing that they do. The difference this time was there was no manager bounce with Ten Hag. There was no manager bounce with this coach either. The bounces are going. It literally is a manager comes in and it's dog shit from the start. Let's get Moyes in. Had to watch a vintage match to feel better. Watch the Arsenal 8-2. Rooney, very disgusting result. I agree with you. Down the line says, did you go dogging tonight? I didn't tonight, mate. That's more of a Sunday morning thing. Do everything to get. So Danny says, talking in my shoes. Why bring on Ugarte over Mainu? Would Wenger come on the Sunderland? Seren says, hi. It literally has to be Southgate. Oh, my God. It's going to be Southgate. Fenerbahce, who would you replace Amorim with? And Henny, mate. This is why right now I'm struggling to be Amorim in or Amorim out, is because I don't know who comes in to fix this mess. I just don't know. Now, I can't give you a name because I honestly don't know. I'll give you what I said, right? And again, this is something that I said, because everything that I say is all out there. I can't hide from it, right? One of the things I said probably in about September time is this: we could have a situation here whereby these players don't want to play for the manager doesn't want to be here, the manager should be sacked. Ineos will not sack the manager, because Ineos, if they sack the manager, they have to admit that they have got this wrong, and Ineos cannot afford to have a repeat of Nice. So what we're going to have here potentially is an absolute fucking mess. Well, you could have a situation where I think that we're probably there now. The fans want the manager out. The players want the manager out. The manager wants to leave. It's a big toxic mess, but Ineos, because of their own selfish pride, will not let the manager go because they can't admit defeat. And that's where I think we are. That's where I think we are right now. Is I think the manager can't stand these players. I think the players don't particularly enjoy him, and Ineos are festering over this belief that they can turn it around on the cheap. I don't even think two players come in to this and save this season. I just don't know what we do, guys. Manx chewing on Rooney while calling Torres a scout B. I'd rather watch paint dry than watch a bunch of overplayed numpties kick a ball of air around a nicely cut piece of grass. You watch the difference between us and Liverpool fans over the standards of clubs. Slot will be sacked soon and get a worthy manager whilst we stay silent. And Paul, mate, you're spot on. This is what I'll always say. Liverpool fans will not take it. They will not take it. You know, can you imagine Liverpool fans accepting Anfield being fucking knocked down? Not in this lifetime. Not in this fucking lifetime. You know, will they accept Slot? No. No, they won't. I don't have much of an issue with the ref tonight. I agree. Slot or Amorim or Slot to work off. Jeffrey says, hi, hello, my friend. Big Harry will sort it out. Amorim and Maresca is the same thing. You have to toss a coin to see who's better. We need to stop acting like we went on a run of form. It wasn't 5 unbeaten. It was 3 wins, 2 draws in the context. And JB, mate, I am with you. I've been saying this all, and I've been, you know, people have said, oh, we've lost 1 in 7. It's been, 5 and blah, blah, blah. We have been shit. We have played so badly. I can't even express to people how poorly we've played. We've got worse and worse and worse and worse. And I think we haven't even, I think Wolves could be the lowest point. Nick said, do you think if Mourinho was still in charge, we would be in this state? Managers need backing, and I think if managers were correctly backed, I think that they'd be okay. JB is spot on. The same old crap from the start of the pre-season. Ugarte needs to go. We need proper investment in this team. We need a proper manager. Amorim does not have the balls to be a United manager. And look, I say this, and I think you might have said something there actually, because I say that I say that Bruno is not a United captain. I don't think he is, right? I think you could be right on that. Is Amorim a United coach? He doesn't talk like one. Let's be honest here, right? Amorim doesn't talk like a United coach. He calls players out. he always talks like what Amorim speaks like. Amorim talks like a Portuguese manager who's 40 years old. He doesn't talk with any authority. He doesn't talk with any. He just doesn't talk with any authority. He's a young guy. He's Ryan Giggs was playing football at Amorim's age. Do you think United will finish top 10? I think that we will finish. I've said this, somewhere between 8th and 10th, possibly 12th. Wake up, Sunderland, going to do your team. Probably. I think it's time for you to accept that the league is not what it used to be, and United is not going back to the top. Mate, I've accepted it. I've accepted it. I've accepted it now for the last 5 years. JB says we had a run of three wins and 2 draws, and everyone was talking top 4, forgetting that we finished 15th last season. Now we're 1 win in 5. JB, mate, I've said that the whole of this fucking season. How do you go from a team that finished 15th last season? The majority of these players are still here. How do you go from 15th to 4th? Some channels, and I've called them out, who did videos discussing, can we win the league? Then they did videos about finishing top 4. Where are those channels now? What are those channels going to be doing tonight? Oh, Amorim's rubbish. We're not going to finish in the top 4. Oh, this is going to be so bad. Oh, the fucking fans forum. Oh, this fucking team is shit. Oh, fucking hell. 2 fucking weeks ago, they were saying, oh, we're top 4. I love this club. We're fucking cooking. Oh, these players are great. Maybe we could win the Premier League. This channel is probably one of the most consistent channels out there. We don't flip-flop. Where are these other channels tonight? Part of the problem for me in this fan base as to why people get so annoyed and pissed off is because there are channels out there, and the media, big channels, the club, spin a bollocks about it, from transfers to where we're going to finish in this league. How can the biggest channel out there put something out there that we're gonna fight for the Premier League, that we're gonna finish top 4? Fuck off, right? It is such clickbait bollocks, and I guarantee you tonight, you'll have 5 of them on the fucking whatever match thing they do on the fans fucking forum. That's not even the fans, it's just fucking 4 people talking bollocks. I guarantee you tonight they'll be on there going, oh, Amorim out, oh, I can't stand these players, oh, fucking hell. The same twats 3 weeks ago were talking about a top 4 finish. No wonder this fan base is just spun around. Turbo Tony says you got lucky against Palace. I agree. JB says Amorim is the worst United manager of my lifetime, ahead of Liverpool in the Prem. I think you need to go to bed, clown. Mate, I don't know why you're being mean to me, mate. What? Because I don't know why you're being mean to me, mate. Sunderland, we fucking beat you. So, wait, I mean, I don't really know what you want me to say. What do you like? I agree that we're not great, but you're coming and saying, oh, fucking Sunderland are going to fucking do you. I mean, fuck off, you idiot. Mate, I think you just need to go fucking piss off. Turbo says United's problem is the recruitment. I don't disagree. Fucking down the line, mate. You are just go and drink some bleach, you fucking idiot. Ryan says, I'm an Arsenal fan. They're in no way a small club. Exactly. Holland, 10 goals in his career. All respect you. But thanks, my friend. If only Sheikh Jazim paid a few more billion. I am with you, my friend. It is just disgusting. I'm a Liverpool fan. I don't like Dalot. What's your take on him? Jody, I think Dalot is... Look, Dalot isn't great. Dalot isn't my cup of tea. I don't know what Amorim... Look, Amorim was talking about him saying he's got pace, he's got power. Amorim, look, for me, I don't think he's very good. I just don't think he's great. Expect the same as long as Amorim stays in charge. Fucking down the line, mate. You're just a fucking idiot. Bruno is about as useful as an ashtray on a motorbike. We really so often look like a fat, rich cat. The whiskey nose did knock us off our perch. It's weird to be a small club, and yet people who support other teams come to a channel of United to say that we're a small club. Exactly. Notice Fergie doesn't even bother to turn up these days. You have to ride out the poor performances for a few seasons in order to reap the benefits in the future. I don't disagree with that. Look, I wish that is what we could do, right? I really, really wish. I think you are spot on, right? This is why I am not Amorim in or Amorim out. Amorim in his defence tonight, Amorim hasn't been given the players for the system. However, the caveat to that for me is Amorim then has to find a way to... Look, I want to give this coach time, right? But if Amorim loses every game, he can't stay. It's impossible. So all I'm asking for is, I don't mind giving him time, but he has to adapt to give himself time. Roman fired some of the best managers in the world. He basically fired every manager. No one's bigger than the club. Fergie had his mid-80s. Yeah. I've subbed to you, mate. Thank you, Paul. You're a legend. I'm off to bed. I've got school run in the morning. And I've mate, Paul, I'd love to, mate. You're definitely on my side of the fence. Paul, mate, I am with you, my friend. Look, my email is on the channel. Feel free, my buddy, to give me a shout. I live around Anfield, respect up north. Thanks, my friend. Fucking hell, fucking down the line, mate. This is boss. Where's Des Lynam? Let's sink it in. 1 clean sheet all season, 1 win in 5. You couldn't even beat Sunderland, mate. You know what? Right, it's so bad. It's so bad. I can't even remember the fucking results. That, in fact, I couldn't even care what results we have, because everything is so bad right now. I can't, mate. I can't. I just can't do it. It's awful. Get some right muppets coming in, leaving random comments, then they leave like there's some sort of hard men. Exactly, mate. You get all sorts on here, mate. The banter's fine, but of course you do get absolute Wally's on here. Should have kept Højlund. How they thought Shesko would have been enough up front is purely stupidity. Look, Jack and mate as well, I agree with you. You know, I've said this thousands of times. Højlund and a Shesko would have just been better than a Shesko. Don't do KG like that. Xerxes should never have been taken off. Of all of the forwards, he was the only one with any control. If anything, Boom was having a stinker, but was the only forward left on the pitch. Ugate's passing ability is such a joke. The only thing he can do is win duels. That's not enough to be a player. People keep talking about the new players, even if they had Mbappe and Bellingham, it wouldn't make a difference to the system. So look, let's briefly talk about the game. Let's briefly talk about the game. I'm not scoring plays tonight. I'm not going to do that. Heading off to bed. Appreciate the stream as always and interacting with the chat. Don't forget to go over the poll results piece. Thank you, my friend, legend, and I will see you very, very soon. So let's have a little look at the poll. So basically, at the moment, 95 votes. It is Amorim out 61 and in 39. I actually thought it would be a lot more out than in, actually. So the fact that it's 60-40 surprises me, actually. It pleasantly surprises me, actually, that it's pretty much 60-40. And I think that's where a lot of people are. I am on that fence. I'm not Amorim in. I'm not Amorim out. I'm more Amorim in than I am out, because there are still things that I see. But this cannot continue. This cannot continue. Tiger King, United was so bad tonight. Roy Keane, best signing ever. I don't disagree with that, my friend. If he did go, who would you want to come in, mate? And this is one of the reasons, Tiger King, right now, why I'm Amorim in, is because you've got to look at every factor, right? You can't just go, oh, we lost, that we're playing shit, right? You've got to look at, has Amorim been given his players, right? Amorim's tactics, system, is Amorim stubborn? Those could be the things that are Amorim out, right? Then you've got to look at, has he really been back with the players? I don't know. Also, what needs to be a factor is who's going to come in to this mess, sort it out, and progress us with these people in charge. Because what we've got to understand is, if we were to go and get the best coach in the entire world, he's not going to have millions and millions of pounds to spend. He's just not. Who's going to come in and work on a budget? And I'm going to tell you this now, and I've said this months and months ago. If Amorim gets sacked, Gareth Southgate will be the guy who comes into this. Limp says, so let's have it right. We were sold a dream after Eric Ten Hag. We would have a start of play. Last month, we are spamming crosses into the box. Liam, Amorim, Tommy, MC, mate, I see you soon, my friend. And Liam, mate, you're spot on as always, my friend. Amorim as well, like in the last couple of weeks have said, oh, I'm going to change the system. I'm going to, what system? What have you changed? Without a 6'5" striker, get Neil Warnock out of retirement, he'd give them a bollocking. People are so tired of cycling through the new managers. They are willing to brave the storm. But Amorim is the worst choice to back. Hello, girl. Thank you, my friend. Even though I'm not a girl, but that's fine. If you had to sell two players from the starting lineup in January, who would they be? Fernandes and a Delay. I'd sell those two. If Ralph had his backing, we'd be leagues above where we are now. I do agree with you. Can't believe Southgate is the favourite with some bookmakers because he's mates with your chairman. I'm telling you now, is going to be Southgate will be the man, because he won't ask for any money. These players will love him. He will pander to these players, and if you want boring, turgid, shitty football, if you want player FC, if you want player power, player FC, boring, awful football, Southgate is going to be the man for you. Shankly always said, "Sign the best." Shankly, mate, legend. Remember, Amorim said, "We came through the storm." What's that true? They're still in a tsunami. Bruno should start learning Arabic. David, I love that, my friend. So let's briefly talk about the game. It's as we said, West Ham were going to come to play the mid to the low block. They're going to invite us to attack, knowing that we can't break down a low block. And we always said, and I always thought we were going to get a sucker punch because there's corners, free kicks. I thought first half, I thought we were awful again. There was nothing, no urgency, no tackling. Bruno Fernandes was ineffective, and I actually thought, and of all the performances that were awful, I mean, who do I think was our best player? None of them. And the reason I'm not going to score them tonight is because I can't score them tonight. I think they're all to a man disgusting. Maybe you could argue, did Luke Shaw have an okay game? He tried to tackle. He got rinsed a few times. Ahmad, I'd probably, if I was going to give it to anybody, I'd probably say Ahmad was probably, at least he got the ball and tried to do something. It was sad. I just feel let down tonight. I just feel let down for the match going fans. I just feel tonight is the epitome of what are we doing? What are we doing? If we can't win games at home and we can't do things for the fans who are there, what are we? What can we do? And I just think right now tonight, I think it's confusing. I think you're confused. I'm confused. I don't know what we are, and I think tonight is obvious. First half ended. It was probably one of the most boring things I've ever watched to Port Amorim. Second half, we came out and we looked better. I thought we looked better. We did. West Ham backed off us, and we didn't continue it. We scored a goal and we should have got two. I don't understand why we look bad when we score. Why didn't we go for it again? Akembe says Silver Bridge. Thanks, mate. Let's have a little look. What team does your wife support? My team. My wife supports Crystal Palace. Fergie did say goals win games. Do you think you can take any positives from the game? Honestly, no. No, I can't. I can't look. If I could even take a positive, if I could say Amorim made the changes for us to be more attacking, then you could almost say, oh look, the manager is doing his best. I can't even take the positives from him. We've got imagine this. AFCON is coming up. We're going to probably lose 3 of our better players. I thought Mazraoui tonight was pretty good as well. Well, not good, but he was one of the better players. What are we going to do? There is no positives tonight for me. Lim says, with the issue, Amorim's style is it requires specialist players. Exactly. He got Van Persie. Not a trick question, but who did United last beat at Old Trafford in the league? When it doesn't roll off the tongue, you're in trouble. Brighton, I think. Brighton was the last win when we beat them when we beat them 4-2. Kobe Manu, not in your starting 11. Amorim doesn't want him. Amorim doesn't want to play him, and I think that is the sad thing, is that Amorim doesn't want to play him. Anthony Abuko, Anthony, legend. Do you think Mbeumo struggles in the absence of Šeško? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I do. I think that, what can he do? I feel sorry for some of these players. I feel sorry for the new players because they're being dragged down into this pile of crap. I'm just a United. I'm just too United winning everything. Yeah. Abuku Anthony says, send they all to the dungeon. Send them all. What a disappointment. A stupendous result. Total rubbish and a big disgrace for all United fans. Brad says, we keep finding a way to never capitalise on results that go out days before. I agree with you. So, just basically to finish off, I thought Heaven did okay. I thought the card destroyed him. I know, a young guy. I just thought that card destroyed him. So, what I like about Heaven is I like that tenacity of youth. I'm asking for that, and Amorim is asking for that. And you've got a young kid that comes in and gives you that. And sure had a KFC at half time. I saw a gravy stain on his shirt. I love it. Putting the result aside, I'm happy that Heaven and Xerxes got minutes. Brad says, also, we lose the whole right-hand side. That is the best attack we have. I mean, you look at that tonight, and that was the only attacking output we have, and looked functional. It's true. It's so true. It is true. But look, from here, I don't know where we go. We've got Wolves, Bournemouth, Aston Villa. I think it goes Wolves away, Bournemouth at home, Aston Villa away, Newcastle at home. Strap in for the ride. The only thing that I can say is strap in for that ride, because it is going to be a bumpy ride. JB says, Ugate's passing hurt my eyes. Ugarte, whenever he plays, hurts my eyes for most of the time. So look, guys, I'm not going to go too much more into the match because I don't think that we sort of have to. I'm not going to score these players tonight. I'm not going to score the coach tonight because I just think it was abjectly disgusting. They do not deserve a score. They do not deserve a score from us tonight. Now, I hate talking about this club in this way. Steve Hannigan says, Sky Blue Army, Coventry fan. I hope you're doing extremely well. Paddy Mac says, shouldn't have Zirks and Cunha off. Amorim's choice, isn't it? Amorim has to bring on a Mason Mount. They don't deserve this week's wages. Brad, mate, this club, these players should refund the match going fans. These players tonight, after that performance again tonight, should be standing there, should be made to stand there all night long and think about what they've done. Paddy says, Mount's bones are made of poppadoms. Oh, Paddy, mate, you're cracking me up. Buki says, the players has this disgusting and sick mentality of always scoring one goal and switching off for the full 90 minutes. Unless opponent equalise, they want to start attacking back. We know what we are, mate. We know what we are. The bench quality we have is shocking, worst in decades. Dino, mate, I worry about the AFCON. I worry about what's going to happen. Oh my God, it scares the life out of me, mate. I don't know. I just don't know, my friend. So look, guys, I am going to go. Another fantastic show. Look, I'm glad that we've all managed to vent. I think it's important to do these shows. As I say before, I don't do screaming. I don't scream. I don't shout. Now, the reason why these shows take so long is because I really do read out your chats. I think it's really important for you guys to come and have a place and vent, because it is something that we are all in together. We don't always agree on everything. It's really interesting that the poll tonight on Amorim in and Amorim out is still 60-40. It shows to me really that there are a lot of people still in for the coach. I am still Amorim in, and I'm not just blindly Amorim in, by the way. It's not a case of Amorim's in and it's just the players. It's not him. Look, this is a combination of Ineos, the Glazers, Amorim, the players. This is a mess. But right now, for me, fundamentally, I'm Amorim in on the basis that who else can come in? If you can show me a pathway to a better team, you can show me a pathway to what can be better than this, because Rangnick wasn't. Simon says, stop moaning. Simon, fuck off. You don't have to be here. If there's something that you don't like, piss off. Mate, I've got zero time for you. If we are having an adult conversation, right? And we're talking about things that are passionate to us. If you're not part of the discussion, you're part of the problem. If you don't like what I'm saying, if you don't like me, this is free. Piss off. Like, I don't mind opinion, right? Tell me to stop complaining about what, right? Simon, we're complaining. We're not whining. We're talking about a club tonight who are in a mess. This is not whining or complaining because, we've lost the game, this is bad. We're not whining. We're talking about something that's been happening for 13 years. We're talking about something that is not just about moaning about a result. This is about 13 years of crap. This is about a team now it doesn't know what it is. We don't know where we're going. Mate, I'm not moaning for the sake of it. If you're not passionate about this club, if you don't support this club, then you don't know about what's happening here. So if you don't know and you can't enter anything constructive, right? I wouldn't even mind if you come in here and said, your team's crap. I don't understand what you're moaning about. You're one of the biggest clubs. Come into the conversation with something. Simon, come into the conversation and add something to the debate. Typical fucking Stoke fan, right? I don't mind the banter, right? Banter is absolutely fine on here. All I'm asking you to do, if you're going to come in, right, come in with something that adds something to the conversation, right? If you're saying to me, stop complaining, then tell me what I'm complaining about. Just say, look, you're lucky. I'm a Stoke fan. We're shit. I wish we had your money. I wish we had your fucking stadium. I wish we were the second biggest club in the world. We wish that we could be in the Premier League. I get that. I would 100% respect that opinion, right? If you were saying to me, you're fucking moaning, but I wish we sort of had your fan base. I wish we had this and that. I get it. Why I don't understand why you're laughing. We are the biggest club. We are the second biggest club behind Real Madrid. That's fact. That's not me pulling that fact out of my arse. Whether you like it or not, the facts remain. United are the biggest club in England. This fact. Separate out size from... It doesn't matter. Mate, Richest is the biggest. What are you fucking talking about, you retard? We have a billion... We have a billion fans. We have a billion fans around the world. We make more money than most clubs, and we're not even in the Champions League. Matt, I am not disputing Liverpool are more successful, right? I'm not Matt. I'm not disputing that Liverpool are more successful. Liverpool are not bigger. Let's be having this right. I will concede on the point that Liverpool are more successful. They're not bigger. Don't kid yourself. If you look at fans, if you look at size of the club, if you look at income and the value of the club, Liverpool are not even in the fucking top 5. So let's not be going there. All I'm going to say to you is, look, Liverpool, I think, are a better run club. I think the fans have more respect for themselves and for their club. Liverpool will not accept what we are accepting, and I respect that. But in no way, shape, or form are Liverpool bigger than us. Those are the facts. Those are the facts, my friend. Amorim is dog. He's going to get a new approach, new tactics, new ideas is needed for the club. Couldn't even win yet. We've established that's bollocks. Top 3 biggest clubs in the world are considered Madrid, Barcelona, and United. It is facts. Big clubs don't go a full season without winning 2 league games in a row. Why? When you look at money, what you don't get, and I'm gonna Liverpool. My God, look, right, and look, I respect Liverpool. We have some amazing Liverpool fans on this channel, right? Anything that I'm saying now is not a dig at Liverpool fans, right? Liverpool are a fantastic club. One of the things that I always say on here is Liverpool and United are just different clubs, completely different clubs, right? And what I mean is that they're different from the rest. If you're a Liverpool captain and a United captain, it's different. Unlike any other club, it is different completely, right? I am not disputing that Liverpool are the most successful. Look, you can argue that, right? It doesn't matter about results. Don't make you bigger. It's fact. It just doesn't. What the point is here is you've got to argue over the size of the club and the relevancy of the club. United are an irrelevant club. United are not in the conversation for anything, right? We are not in the conversation for anything at all. But factually, what you're saying is you're talking out of your arse. United are the biggest English club. That's established. That's fact. And United are the second most valuable club in the world. Factually, just because you win games, United have a billion fans. Doesn't mean that Liverpool are not a fantastic club. Doesn't mean that Liverpool are not the most successful club. United are the biggest club, and that's what makes this so worse. What? The very thing that you're trying to call me out on here is the very thing that makes it more, is basically the thing that makes it worse, right? I'm trying to argue with you here that we are the biggest club, right? Which makes the situation even worse. I'm actually making the situation worse. Is we are the biggest club in England, but we are one of the worst clubs in England. So it makes this argument worse for me anyway. Who cares who's bigger? You're crap now. The theatre of tears, says Fish Flaps. Our problem is the owners. I agree. Also, United fans just spend their time trashing their club. You obviously, I'm not being on here. We're not trashing this club. I don't. We have an adult conversation. I hate to say this, but a big rats team in England. Rage bait. I mean, look, yeah, I know it's funny. United's second biggest club in the world doesn't give you the right to win everything world class plays. Simon, agreed, mate. I am not, and this is, I think, the thing that I want people to separate. Right, we are the second biggest club in the world, established. We are irrelevant. Nobody wants to play for us. We are awful. We don't have the right to win things. We don't. We have to earn it the same as everybody else. Within the next 10 years, we will not be one of the biggest clubs in the world. We will come down that list, because if we don't win things, we will not stay up there. We just won't. So look, Simon, I agree with you. Just because we are the biggest club in England doesn't mean that we deserve the right to win things. Doesn't mean that we've got the best players. We are right now an irrelevancy. How long do you think United will be relevant with that Champions League, mate? We are. Look, eventually, we're not going to be the biggest club in the world anymore. We're not going to be England's biggest club. It's fact. It's fact. It's going to take a while, but that's what's going to happen. I'm not talking to you anymore because you're a twat. Isaac says, read the damn comments, man. Let's have a little look. No, I'm not reading your comments, mate. It's shocking how the standards have dropped off this season. Alone, terrible for both Liverpool and United. Get the Glazers gone, then it will turn around. And that is what I am hoping for. But look, guys, I'm going to go. Cracking stream tonight. I'm look, guys, I'm so thankful that you guys get in your comments on here. Matt says can't really be mocking each other based on this season. Matt, exactly, mate. I give maximum respect. Are you in a bad mood tonight? No, Isaac, I'm not in a bad mood, mate. I'm just not reading comments like that, my friend. I'm just not going to read it tonight, my friend. Wrong time. Not Isaac, mate. I am not. But mate, I'm not in that. I'm not in that place tonight, my friend. So that chat has gone tonight, my friend. But look, Isaac, it's not you, mate. It's me. It's me. So look, guys, I am going to go. Isaac, mate, it is late. Isaac, mate, I love you to pieces, and Isaac is a legend. He always comes on, cheers us up. Legend completely. So look, I am going to go. I will be back tomorrow at some point. I'll pop in another time. But Matt, mate, you are welcome. And thank you for being here. So look, guys, thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it. It's been one of those shows tonight. It is a fraught show. We will all calm down tomorrow and we'll talk about it again tomorrow, and then we go again. I think I can only thank you guys for being legends of the channel. for talking this out. You know, guys, you give each other the time of day. You know, and I know we get banter on here, and some people come on, and you know they're arseholes. They are. But look, guys, you are all fantastic. Will you read this? How he not your top 11, Kobe? Please say. Isaac, mate, big hugs and kisses, pal. Look, the only thing I'm going to say on Mainu is this: Amorim doesn't like a Mainu. He doesn't. It doesn't mean that I don't like him either. If I was him, I would change these players and play him. Amorim doesn't rate him. Whether we rate Amorim or not now, Isaac says, sorry, sorry, couldn't help it. Isaac, mate, you cheer me up, my friend. You know, Isaac, we need random people like you, my friend. You are hilarious. And you know, guys, but look, you're all legends of this chat tonight. Thank you so much for people who have been here tonight for the views. I will be back tomorrow. Isaac, we will catch up tomorrow. Are you watching Babe Station? I love it. A blast and pass. So, guys, thank you for being here, legends. Yeah, what an abjectly terrible result tonight. Congratulations to West Ham, really. West Ham, you know, well done to them. And we go again tomorrow. So look, guys, I will be back tomorrow. I'm not sure what time, but good. Have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel, and I will be back tomorrow. So take it easy, guys, legends, and I'll see you very, very soon.